In what way is it expensive to be poor? I saw a lady coming out of a laundromat, loading her baskets of clothes into a taxi. There is zero other public transport where I saw this happen and only a few taxis. Not being able to put enough money together at one time to buy a car or a washing machine, she probably rented, so this maybe wasn't even an option, was costing her a fortune. Just being nickeled and dimed to death. I've seriously walked my laundry basket over a mile to the bus stop on a regular basis. Not fun times. Laundromats are expensive as hell too. To me, laundromats are one of the most depressing places on earth. Hell yeah, they are. My old building had a laundry facility, but 4 of each machine for like 50 units. It was always full, broken, and people take your crap out if you're not there immediately when it stops. Started going to the laundromat. Saw so many fights, and loud people. I'd throw my clothes in, and just sit in my car. Some gyms offer cleaning services at their location, so if you find yourself living out of a car or something, you could use a gym membership to keep clean. I did not know this. Thank you. I kind of like my laundromat because, before COVID-0, it'd be full of little kids playing chase around the machines and people chatting in 3 or 4 languages. It generally had a nice vibe. Everyone there is poor, but it's pretty mellow. Of course, I could have bought a nice washer and dryer with the money I spend there in a year, and I've been using it for 4 years, plus I hate having to give up 2 hours of my life to do my laundry. I went to a laundromat a few months ago and it cost $6 for a normal size load. In building, laundry will probably charge you something similar. In unit, laundry will cost you more than $25 per month in rent. Laundry is expensive, man. My building charges less than that for washer and dryer combined. This was $6 just for the washer, but yeah, it's crazy. Not even the money, but the time you are wasting sitting there waiting for laundry. I guess you can make use of it still, reading, or whatever. But you also have travel time. I literally toss my clothes into a machine and pop them in the next one when I get around to it. There is almost no time commitment except that I prefer to be home when the dryer is on. Not having in-home laundry is a great example. Say it costs you $4 to do your laundry each week, which I think is very cheap. In 5 years, you will have spent over $1,000 on laundry. For $1,000, you can get a good washing machine that would last you through those 5 years, then another 5 years, and maybe a lot more. And that doesn't count the time saved doing laundry at home, and any transportation costs. I spend $9 a week doing laundry. I went from having a washer and dryer in my unit to having to use the coin original poster machines. Holy crap, do I miss the in-unit machines. Wow. Is it common in the US to not have a washing machine in your place? In Europe, most fully furnished places come with one as standard. It's semi-common. My apartment complex doesn't have in-unit laundry. I live in America and I have a European-style all-in-one washer, dryer, and it effing sucks. My clothes never come out dry unless it's quick-dry gym-style stuff. I had to buy a drying rack too. But it's still 100x better than having to go to a laundromat. Edit, there is nothing blocked or in the way of the vent. That crap is just terrible. Be good or be good at it. Not sure about the rest of Europe, but in the UK the combination washer/dryers are very rare. Like only if it's physically impossible to fit both anywhere in your home. Man, it's got to be $30 at a minimum every time she does laundry. Sometimes the places you rent don't even have laundry hookup. They make you use the on-site laundry facilities, which they charge for, or they or somebody they know owns a facility close by where they do the same thing. Yeah, I moved from an expensive downtown apartment to a cheaper apartment outside of the city because COVID shut everything down and crime was going up. So this place has on-site laundry. I thought, how bad could it be? Machines are broken all the time, but often you don't realize until it's started, locked, and not agitating. The app you have to use, because coin-operated laundry is too convenient, is at least pretty good about giving refunds, but you're still out of the time and detergent you just wasted. There's no option to pay less for a smaller load, so if there's an outfit you want to wash, you're out $4 and have to walk a bit. I'm going back to in-unit laundry next time I move, which can't come soon enough. Oh, and the app updated to sell lottery tickets, because people using laundromat apps are more likely to also gamble. Predatory bullcrap. Just being nickeled and dimed to death. Apologies for bogarting your line, just want to plug this, older, book that uses the same title and addresses that exactly. Edit. The author spoke at the university I was affiliated with a number of years after this book was published. I think it was about the time she was working on, which, full disclosure, I still haven't finished. I was a little skeptical about. Not because it wasn't addressing legit concerns, it did, but I didn't put white-collar issues in the same category as what she addressed in Nickel and Dimed. Me as a white male, white-collar job or no just doesn't have the same cultural forces to contend with as a non-white woman, which is sort of the focus in the earlier book, but only kind of, as she's white. It just isn't, and hasn't, been as hard for me. Sometimes people interpret hard for me in an objective fashion and that everyone's hard for me is the same. It's not. Edit 2. Also, see my comment above/below about Elizabeth Warren and her talk about the coming collapse of the middle class. You may hate her or love her, but it was just a little before the last cluster up in 2008, I was at and, yeah, that. Web link. If you're ever desperate enough to take out a title/payday loan, you'll discover you just stepped in financial quicksand. About a year and a half ago, I forgot to leave enough money in my bank account for a payment that needed to be done. It wasn't much, around $500 maybe, but didn't want the late payment and fees that come with it, so I decided to look into the payday loans. I needed $500 to last until Friday, when I would be paid. I checked on it on Monday. When I was to click accept, I read the entire thing. It said I had to pay back $950 if I paid on Friday, or about $2,500 if I went with their payment plan. I noped out of that bullcrap as fast as I could, called my bank and I luckily had overdraft protection or whatever. Payment went through and all I had to pay was like $15 or something for the overdraft. I read the entire thing. You may very well be the only person who ever has. They're actually written to be confusing on purpose. Written with a lot of legal jargon, and if it's online, the page is purposefully not user-friendly. I didn't do a payday loan, but I took out a personal loan from one of those private lenders. I was in between jobs and needed the money. My payoff amount was $10,000. I got a full-time job shortly after the loan and set up autopay to $385 a month. A year later, I sign onto my account, thinking I only have $6,000 left. Turns out my balance was $9,990. I misinterpreted the interest rate. The high interest rate accrued daily, so like $382 went towards the interest and only $1 towards paying down my balance. That was one of my biggest money mistake. I'm so thankful I was able to find a decent paying job afterwards, otherwise, I would probably still be paying it off. I had to pawn my car title a couple years ago due to unforeseen hardship. While I was thankful I had the option, it was definitely far more expensive than I liked. Survived it, though, and have been working on my credit score so I never end up in that situation again. This should be the top comment on this thread, hands down. Payday lending is the biggest way to make and keep you poor, and it's expensive as F. Think about if you had a bill that was like $500 bucks. Most people could come up with that money somehow. Or ask a friend/family. If you can't and you go to a payday lender, it's a potential financial death sentence. The whole situation could be avoided if you weren't poor in the first place. Commercials for these run on the free cable channels. The channels that you don't have to pay to watch. It's pretty disgusting. There are late fees for everything. Overdraft fees at the bank. Crafty jobs usually don't have good healthcare plans. If you're poor, you need credit cards just to survive, but interest rates are higher for those with low credit scores. See late fees above. Crafty cars are always breaking down, and that's expensive. I do love that logic. Oh, you're too poor to pay us right now? How about we make you pay even more money? Yeah, that'll show you. And if you can't afford that, we'll drag you through the justice system and have you pay for that as well. It's a great business plan that makes sure you'll never run out of clients. Where I live, you now need to pass a credit check to get insurance for your house/car, etc. The government mandates that the insurance companies can't deny insurance to people with subpar credit, so they will offer the insurance if you pay a year upfront. Right now I don't have $1,500 to pay for that, so my car is uninsured. In addition to the risk of driving around uninsured, the government have decided that uninsured cars that hasn't had the plates turned in must pay a $15 daily fine that adds up to lots more than the insurance would be. The result is that because of the fine impacting my credit score, I am very unlikely to ever being able to get a decent score, with all the added costs that entails. I lived with a guy once who had a credit score of like 200 and he bought a used car, piece of crap, at a sleazy no credit, doesn't matter place of business. He paid $5,000 for as if a 90s Dodge Neon or something, this was in like 2009, that I was always helping him fix, and his APR was like 28%, but wait, there's more. He paid it off after I explained to him how interest works. He was like 28, and they accepted the payments, and then his car would not start, it wouldn't even turn over. I went to help him replace the starter and there was a radio transmitter wired to it. The sleazy car shop installed this device to turn the car off if payments were not made, even legal? So we called and explained and they were like, oh sorry, we thought he was late on a payment. They allowed the starter to work again, but like holy F. It sucks being poor in the USA. Then they repo the car and resell it to the next person. John Oliver did an entire feature on this problem. YouTube link. I financed a car at a buy here pay here lot that did this. If my payment was due, the car would beep until I paid. If I was late, the car wouldn't start. It got totaled when some fool rear-ended me. Honestly, I was happy the car was totaled, it got paid off and I got out of the crafty deal. The one nice thing about modern poverty is the internet. You can learn so much crap for free. The real difficulty is wading through the bad or straight-up misinformation. Like parking tickets. I couldn't afford the £2 to pay to park my car, so I get a £30 fine, after 2 weeks it goes up to £60 and so on. If I didn't have £2 to park, in the first place I don't know how they think I can pay more. Have you ever watched Killed by My Debt? That was about how a parking fine spiraled into severe debt and worse. Shifty cars breaking down and then getting fined for not having it fixed yet. Pay the fine first or else you're risking jail time, and your car is still broken. Yep, and if it gets towed you're screwed also. If you can't afford to get it out right away, you get to watch your bill go up till you find a way to pay. If you're well off, you buy one pair of boots for $150 and they last a lifetime. If you're poor, you buy boots for $30 and they last a winter. You end up spending more, because you can't afford to spend more. Terry Pratchett uses it to explain poverty via Sam Vines in one of his City Watch books. Came here to see if someone posted this. Take boots, for example. He earned $38 a month plus allowances. A really good pair of leather boots cost $50. But an affordable pair of boots, which were sort of okay for a season or two and then leaked like hell when the cardboard gave out, cost about $10. But the thing was that good boots lasted for years and years. A man who could afford $50 had a pair of boots that'd still be keeping his feet dry in 10 years' time, while the poor man who could only afford cheap boots would have spent $100 on boots in the same time and would still have wet feet. This was the Captain Samuel Vimes Boots theory of socio-economic unfairness. Came to this thread and Control+F Vimes, there it is. Glad someone posted the right answer. Second time I've seen a Sam Vines reference today. Now I'm going to have to order a Terry Pratchett book. r/Discworld has a good reading order pinned. Reddit link. You want the City Watch books. And if you can't maintain a minimum balance or don't have a bank in your neighborhood or were raised to be suspicious of banks and don't have a bank account, you've got to pay fees to cash your paychecks. Then there are fees to buy money orders to pay your bills or the cost of getting to the utility office or car dealership or wherever to pay in cash. You've got to pay fees to cash your paychecks? Seriously? Where I live, banks are required to offer a basic bank account to anyone, unless you've been convicted of financial fraud, if I recall correctly. They won't provide overdrafts or any special features, but bank transfers/bill payments are allowed and free to use. I think this is more for a check cashing places, like in pawnbrokers, for example. Banks tend to do them for free, but the Bobos comment does say don't have, or are suspicious of banks. I don't know if it has gotten better, but when I was working minimum wage and didn't have a bank account, some places wouldn't let you cash a payroll check if you didn't have an account, and if you went to the bank it is drawn from, you had to have 2 forms of identification. A lot of people aren't going to have that, especially if they are working minimum wage jobs, don't have a car so no license. Healthcare. That's the big one. If you don't have a healthcare plan, or have a crappy one, you don't go to the doctor unless it's life or death. That means small problems that could have been caught in the beginning become hugely expensive problems later on. Or if you grew up poor and never learned how to go to the doctor, I have good insurance through my job. I still waited till my gallbladder had to be taken out emergency style. Also, though I make enough to pay my bills, doesn't mean I can pay more on top of that. So you try to wait as long as possible. I wish I could double upvote this. I'm in the exact same situation. I make solid middle class money, but I don't want another payment thrown on top of my bills. I'm putting off going to the doctor with a knee issue because I'm terrified they'll tell me I need surgery, and I can't even fathom paying my $4,000 deductible right now, even in payments. I'm just going to ignore it and hope it goes away, which is definitely not healthy, but I need to pay my kids' dental bills off first before I take care of myself. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.